Hi, everybody. This is, and since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room there on Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas, he was taken to a soundproof room and a fight. There was a fight. Um, we're hearing that he bashed in someone's mouth, caused a lot of dental problems, but he lost his life. He lost his life because he was a whistleblower. Because he was a whistleblower and he knew things. He knew the connections with the Walmart mass shooting, the orchestration of the Walmart mass shooting to use that, make it bloody, and fabricate a false narrative to use against their political rivals, which was President Trump. They personally attacked President Trump, and then, of course, his campaign um, for presidency with this false narrative. So, this was a big deal. This was election interference. And we're seeing that over and over again, and it's coming out. Make sure that I'm on. So a lot of good news is happening, but some uh, really, can you believe it? Moments, they're still so brazen. Um, so the breaking news is that the county judge there in El Paso, his name is Ricardo Samaniego. Now, Ricardo Samaniego followed Veronica Escobar, right? Veronica Escobar used to be the county judge. She's not a lawyer. You don't have to be a lawyer to be the county judge. And they really hold the purse, right? They sign the paycheck for the chief medical examiner, $500,000 a year. Um, uh, Mario Raskin Ortiz, and he's not even in the country legally. He's not in the country legally, and he's not he's unqualified for the position. And here they are writing out $500,000 of taxpayer money to him as a salary. Can you believe it? And he's absolutely connected to the cartel criminal group. Uh, you know, that was up to no good in the Walmart mass shooting. And also with this whole crematorium, Plenitude Crematorium, and also in Richard's case. Yeah, up to no good everywhere you look. I guess if you want to run a criminal trafficking network, cabal, syndicate, you need to get people in place to cover up your crime, like the chief medical examiner who determines the cause and manner of death. Um, that's an important one. Then, of course, the who writes his paycheck. You need to get the county judge, right? You need to get the El Paso County judge to make sure that they write the paycheck to the medical examiner, the chief medical examiner, to cover up the crime. So this is a very important position, the El Paso County judge, and that was Veronica Escobar, and she was absolutely up to no good, supporting a cartel individual to become the chief medical examiner to cover up crime, right? To cover up crime that went on for years and years and years and years, and to pay him with taxpayers' money for this crime perpetrated on the taxpayers. It's just really wicked. It's so wicked. And then who took her place? Well, Ricardo Samaniego did, and he's up for election pretty soon. Um, so he took her place, and he has some really shady business. Of course, Veronica Escobar does too. She has some very shady business, um, with the cases around her and her family and her home and our neighbor, and um, um, Yeah, yeah, definitely very shady. But Ricardo Semeniago is very shady too. Has very shady, like there's a law for them and a law for us, right? That's how they act. That's how absolutely they think of the world today. Thank you, Laura, for coming on so late. Even though I thought I'd come on around 11, but things are just happening so fast. Can you imagine this Ricardo Samaniago who is just up to no good, who's paying a cartel guy to $500,000 to be the chief medical examiner, up to no good, totally criminal. And then, now here is a corroborating event that happens. He goes to the swankiest, poshest restaurant. And I like posh restaurants. That's not anything about Cafe Central. I'm not saying anything about that. I mean, it's a posh and swanky restaurant. And, we all hear that, once upon a time they were all bugged and everything because, the who's who goes to the posh and swanky restaurants, and who's who in the cartel, and who's who in the Mormon faction, and who's who in the criminal trafficking world, and who's who, in law enforcement and in the judicial, and we see that it is really uh, a known place, a very known place for easily two people um, will have to pay between $200 and $400, um, depend sorry, for a meal. So this is pretty swanky. Um, so I was being pretty conservative with my post, but I'm sure they have a la carte, and that didn't include the drinks, and that didn't include dessert, and that didn't include whatever. So, but so county judge, El Paso County judge. And there's a long history there. There's a long history with other things going on. But he is going out to eat with the owner of Plenitude Crematorium. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? How corrupt that is? How how many violations there are with that? I mean, this guy, over 400 rotting bodies. Um, they said 387, I believe, or whatever. But then, of course, when they went back, they found more bones and everything. We have over 400 now. Um, and then giving families crushed stone, pulverized stone in urns. And of course, um, we believe that Richard's remains, partial remains, ended up there. And so this is, I'm telling you, behind the scenes, we absolutely know that Plenitude Crematorium is being investigated. Okay, it's investigated, and it seems that Raphael is like a fugitive from Mexico into the United States. His brother has been arrested. Why doesn't he go over to Mexico? Why is he staying with all his big houses, the one big house right next to Beto O'Rourke? And his ex-wife being like the one of the senior editors to the City magazine, right? To the City magazine. That's not by accident. That's not by accident at all. So for the two of them, for the county judge, Ricardo Semeniago, to go out to eat with like the sacrilege rotting body. What did I call him before? A stacker, right? The corpse stacker. The corpse stacker. Peddling bodies, recycling bodies, just abusing the whole system with the whole humanitarian aid and COVID and all of this stuff. Um, that doesn't look too good for Ricardo Samaniago. It doesn't look too good, and that would not happen without the blessing of Connell Witten. Okay, of the FBI there. And so something is very stinky, um, very, very stinky. And, I just, they must be very desperate, right? They must be very desperate, um, and having to, was that used to conspire, to sit there and conspire? Was it a payoff? Was it to wheel and deal? What was it, right? So that is a very big deal for us, a really big deal. Now, um, something that was posted, I mean, there's so much that President Trump now is going to have Dan Scavino take care of all the appointments. Dan Scavino has been with President Trump since he was 16 years old. Very loyal uh, employee, right hand man, I would say. And he's now in a very, very powerful role with the appointments. So, and as you know, you might not know this, but the appointments have, it's very different than any other president that got their appointments in very quickly. President Trump's appointments, there's a lot of sabotage going on. There's a lot of blocking. There's a lot of delay. So we really are very happy to hear this news that Dan Scavino will handle the appointments now. So this is really, really important, especially for the U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Texas. That is now just an interim, that is vacant, and that needs to be filled, right? That needs to be filled. So we'll see. We'll see what happens and what Dan does. Let's see what Dan does, right? Um, the other, we're still looking at, of course, Julio Cordero's case. That is very important with Anthony Ray Acuna as the shooter. Uh, just a lot going on there. So we haven't forgotten about that. Of course, we're still looking at the Walmart case. Every day, new things come out with the Walmart case. So we're looking at that. And of course, the Plenitude Crematorium. That is, really top of our list. What's happening over there, and the families aren't happy. And I'm gonna put out another article when I get a chance. Maybe tomorrow I'll do that about what happened over the weekend. They're not okay with what has happened, and the government cover up is very apparent to them, and so that's going full force. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that, but it just tells you that this is very serious. The Plenitude Crematorium, very, very serious. If Ricardo Samaniago is going to go out and eat at a swanky place with the owner, it is very serious. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about that probably no one else will talk about is that the breaking news is, and I don't know if it was a joke, but I really want to comment on this because last night Laura was on then, and we were talking about honoring father and mother and what that meant. And there's just we need a lot of definitions and um, in how to address everything that we're supposed to do in life, when there is a saint or, showing reverence and, um, naming our children after certain saints or angels, why we do that. Because, we're lifting their name up because they've done such great things. Not that, no one is good, not one, except God alone. But there's those that really um, do magnificent things, uh, even in their circumstances, like Richard. And I hope that everybody out there that has little boys might consider naming their son Richard. Not Ricardo, but Richard. Richard, because Ricardo Samaniago, he's up to no good. But after Richard, because he really did some magnificent things in his young life. And so, of course, but we still have to honor our parents. Sometimes people will say, how did that person get such a good son? How did that person get such a good son? It's like because they what they did, they just honored even if the parents were, up to no good. Um, and it's just an amazing thing. It breaks the trend. It breaks the trend, and that's what we need to do. And so here is a breaking news story that was posted of President Trump saying that he doesn't believe that he'll make it to heaven. He doesn't believe he'll make it to heaven. And it's like, really, what are you talking about? Because look at where he's at right now. He's on his way for this release of these prisoners, the peace deal in the Middle East. I mean, it's just huge, huge, huge. Um, he has the pressure of the world. I mean, with all of this stuff with China going on right now, the betrayal of China right now, these um, these trade um, what do you call it? Those the elements. The Anyway, it'll come to me. Um, there is a lot of betrayal. Um, because of pressures and everything like that. And so, of course, President Trump had to respond with a 100% tariff. And then, of course, you had the Bitcoin or those kinds of um, online money or whatever go absolutely crazy in the stock market. But we're going. The thing is if you're going to charge hell something it's not going to be um let's see an easy walk. It's not going to be an easy walk, and we absolutely know that we can't continue to walk in the direction that we were going. That is absolutely destruction, and we know that. And so you know uh, all of this going on. And we absolutely know that President Trump is President Trump, right? We know that he was a billionaire. We know his children. We know his wives. Um, we've looked into all of his businesses and everything like that. We know him. And for the most part, it's all pretty impressive, very, very impressive. So why would he say that he doesn't think he'll make it to heaven? You know, um, and I just wanted to comment on this because it is in our investigation. There's so much evil, right? There's so much from cannibalism to organ harvesting to forced abortion to hundreds of thousands of children being trafficked to the oil theft and the uh, setting up our military, right? Um, with um, all kinds of, these young soldiers that they set up, they frame them. They want to compromise them, um, and of course, all the all the trafficking, right? All the trafficking. And it goes on and on because with all of that, there's a lot of other crimes that come with that. So we know, uh, and sometimes you just feel tainted, right? You feel polluted, like you've been polluted by all of this information that you're reading and everything. I can't even imagine what President Trump has to be briefed on and everything, the evils of everything, and then you just feel like you're tainted, right? Like it's just, gosh, um, it's it really is hard to take. And so I understand why he said that, but I also understand this, that the main question is, are we willing to really, let's make it singular, are you willing to be damned for the glory of God? And so as soon as I read his statement, I was like, oh my gosh, um, are you willing to be damned for the glory of God? And, so when that came up in our homeschool lesson and everything, um, from these old preachers, are you willing to be damned for the glory of God? Uh, you know, the kids, there's so much discussion about that. And I think you can go to the butterfly. I know that sounds so strange, but you go to the caterpillar and you explain it and say, look, the caterpillar, it just munches away, right? Just munch, 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 munches away, gets really nice and fat, and then turns into a chrysalis. And that, builds a chrysalis, knowing that that chrysalis is its coffin. Its coffin. Um, because when inside that chrysalis, that caterpillar absolutely dissolves. It dissolves into just a gooey fluid. It dies. It dies and it totally gets restructured, right? I mean, the whole digestive system, the eyes, like, caterpillars are like blind, right? They have really good digestive system because they're just munching away, munch, munch, munch with their mouth. But when they come out of the tomb of their chrysalis, um, they don't have a mouth anymore. They don't have a mouth anymore. They don't have their whole digestive system is totally different, right? They have wings now, beautiful wings. They can fly. They can see. They have magnificent eyes. They are totally new. They're totally different. And they have to be willing to be damned for the glory of God. And that's the way I can explain it, how I explain it to my children. You just the butterfly is magnificent, right? And I don't think that the caterpillar goes into the chrysalis, uh, thinking, "Oh, now I'm just going to be so magnificent. I'm going to come out and be able to fly," right? Um, you know, so it just tells you that President Trump is very humble, and he knows that um, he's munching away at the crime. He's munching away at the crime, and in that, there's deals, and he has to wheel and deal. He's a deal maker, right? Because he's dealing with so many different people. But I just want to say that he has done so much in these last months. It's jaw dropping for our son's case. And to get the letters from him, to get the responses, to have that access to his administration, that, he hasn't forgotten about Richard, and he hasn't forgotten about us, and he absolutely knows we want our son's remains. And the country wants our son's remains, because Richard was a U.S. Army soldier. So, of course, the country wants Richard's remains. Mexico, the cartels, the FTOs can't be thinking that they can do that to a U.S. Army soldier. So, what am I getting at? I'm assuring everybody that things are happening. Things are absolutely happening. And I hope that gives you a really nice Sunday, right? Gives you a nice week. It's already Monday. It's 12:10 here. That you have a really good week, knowing that your work, because you're going to have to work. President Trump needs everybody. He needs everybody. And he needs honesty, right? Loyalty. Because, we know that that this is a government by the people, for the people, of the people. And he could not do anything without our votes, without our support. He could not do it. He could not do it. So this is really, when you have this kind of corruption where the county judge is going to a posh, very expensive restaurant with the owner of a cartel member, cartel dumping ground of rotting bodies, owner of that, profiting, blood money. It's, gosh, that's so crazy. That, if you have children, if you have any hope for the future, you know that you have to work very hard to, for the glory of God, to bring about justice and everything good. And, good happens, right? The butterfly does come out. And it's a struggle for the butterfly to come out. And if you help the butterfly come out by lessening its struggle, the butterfly dies. The butterfly's wings are never strong enough to pump and extend itself, and they can't fly, and they die. So the struggle is there, even to come out, and we have to get through this struggle. And we have exposed so much. And President Trump, his administration, the very first U.S. attorney for New York, that's the financial capital of the world. They indicted the U.S. attorney for New York. That's beautiful. That's it, because she's a total criminal. She's a total criminal. And then the former FBI director, he's a nobody now. He's a nobody. He's in big trouble, y'all. He's in such big trouble. Um, and so I think that Ricardo Samaniego needs to pay attention to what's going on, right? Pay attention. Um, and we need to absolutely be um, working extra hard to help President Trump make this happen and the administration to make this happen. And we will really have a golden age because we need to manufacture for ourselves again, right? We need to make our own things, including our own health care. Um, we don't need foreign countries doing that because they could absolutely weaponize it against us. So, and we see a lot of weaponization of infiltrators that have done a lot of harm. So, so if you see something, say something, speak up, document, and file it, and then speak up some more. So I can tell you this, Richard, Richard's name is indelible, and he will never be forgotten. And it's up to God to say if Trump's going to get to heaven or not. But I like it that he is making people think about it. Think about it. It's a beautiful thing that there is a a standard. Not everybody gets to heaven. There is a standard. And it's really amazing to think about it. So, I guess that's my Sunday. My Sunday. Thank you, Laura. Laura just got off work. Oh, I'm so glad you're working. There are so many injustices in El Paso involving children, and the saddest thing is that our school officials are in it. Well, yeah, and I can confirm that. I can absolutely confirm that you are right, and we are working behind the scenes on that. Okay, I can tell you that because it has to do with Richard's case. It has to do with everything going on. Um, yes. And the tunnels. Don't forget about the tunnels. And we expose the tunnels. And we expose that Patrick Crucius is autistic. And now, that was refuted strongly. And I'm like, I don't care what you say, he's autistic. And then it comes out that even they knew all along. They knew all along because it was on the day of August 3rd, 2019. He told the interviewers in his interrogation that he was autistic. Um, so they knew all along. Everywhere we go, we talk about our Richard Halliday. Thank you so much. You're a hero. God willing, we will find Richard's remains. Thank you so much. Yeah, with that, they already did. They already have his remains. And it is a matter of them giving them back to us. So, yeah, that, and that's kind of hard to explain to people when I say they already have his remains. Well, where are his remains? Why aren't they reported on? Whatever. And they have been reported on by so many officials, um, but not in official reports, right? Maybe so with the Boar Star. Um, yeah, but we will get those. And it's we'll see. God's working it all out. And we're just identifying the crime, documenting it, and filing it. And we are working very hard um, to make El Paso um, free of this grip, this really sex cult, criminal trafficking grip that they've put on beautiful El Paso. So thank you so much. God bless you, and I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye.